Hey everybody, it's Steve with Keep 'em Rolling, and this is just going to be a quick show of shows video. I like to do these right before the show of shows, which is actually right now just 4 days away. For those of you who don't know what the show of shows is, it's this massive military show that takes place in Louisville, Kentucky, or Louisville if you're from that area. It takes place at the Louisville Fair and Expo Center, which is this incredibly ginormous complex. And the show is, from what I understand, the biggest show in the United States, if not possibly the biggest show in the world. If not, it is up there and probably the top of huge military shows. It is sponsored by the OVMS, or Ohio Valley Military Collectors Society. And you can find all the information about show times, membership costs, if you want to be a member, entry fees if you don't want to be a member, etc., on their website. So I suggest you check out their website. I'm not going to go into detail just because I don't want to give misinformation. So if you're interested, check out their website. But I can tell you this, if you've never been to that show and if you are a military collector, I would put this definitely on your bucket list to experience, because it just, you can look at pictures of it and it seems crazy, but it is nothing until you are standing in the hall. I mean, I can't, it takes me about 5 to 6 hours just to walk the show. And that's just walking down the center, kind of glancing at stuff. That's not delving into the thousands and tens of thousands of Riker mount cases and boxes under tables and stacks of paperwork and so forth and so on. So it is really something to behold. Now, there are a couple of things I've seen about this show that I want to talk about. And one of those is that this is not a good show to go to because it is overpriced. That the dealers who come to this show have to pay for hotel costs, table costs, travel costs, food, etc. And so they jack up the prices of their goods. And I can tell you that this is 100, well, I can't say it's false. I don't know if some dealers do this, but what I can tell you is that I've been to this show numerous times, and it's like every other military show, okay? It's not a flea market, you know, and that's something you need to keep in mind. This is not a place where you're going to walk in and find a mint M1 World War II helmet for $5 on a table, okay? It's not that type of show, but it's like every other military show in the sense that, in my opinion, I walk in and I will find people that I feel are, or dealers that I feel are really overpriced. I will find dealers that I feel are right at retail value. And I'll find dealers that are underpriced, that are, you know, wanting to sell things and just move them. So you will find deals at this show, okay? And what makes this such a fantastic show is the sheer volume of stuff that's there. So let's use this as an example. You come into the show, well, let's say you go to a small show. You go to a small show and you're looking for an M1928 pack. You really want one. You go into the show and there might be one dealer who has an M1928 pack and they've got $150 on it. And you're like, I really want it, but man, I just don't want to pay that price. And you're put in that awkward situation. The show of shows is so massive that you walk in, I want an M1928 pack. Gee, this person has one on their table for $150. No. You go a couple tables over, there's person has one for $75. You go a couple tables over, there's one for $50 that is better than the other two. This is that type of show. But what I'm telling you is a double-edged thing that you have to keep in mind. And that is, if you go to this show, one story that comes up over and over is that sad story about the item that got away. I hear this all the time about how, oh, I saw this really awesome thing. I decided I would just kind of leave it and come back, and when I came back, it was gone. And that's the one thing you can't do. So if you go in looking for that M1928 pack, you go up to a table, person has one for $25 that is mint condition, you're going to want to jump on it, because chances are when you come back an hour or 2 hours later, it's going to be gone. So that's kind of, you have to find that happy balance. But as far as the show being like overpriced, no, just like every other military show. Now, the next thing that I hear stated a lot is that the show, if you're not there during setup, as a dealer, if you're not there as a member on Thursday morning, right when the show opens, all the good stuff's gone. You know, it's all been traded, it's all been, you know, picked up, and yeah, the stuff that's left over is just kind of stuff. That can't be further from the truth, okay? There's so much stuff here, and it's such unusual stuff. I don't even know where people come up with that. Sure, trading takes place. A lot of it's already prearranged deals. Sure, dealers work with each other. Sure, if you're there right when the show opens, you might find something great on a table that might not be there later. But I'm telling you, these dealers come to make money. And they don't want empty tables. So what they're doing is they're constantly refreshing their tables throughout the show. They bring a lot of extra inventory. And this happened to me about 2 years ago. I was at the show. I remember stopping at this one particular table. The dealer was a really friendly person, which that's the one cool thing, is the dealers are just great to work with. Just be friendly, you know, start a conversation. This particular dealer, great stuff. Nothing really grabbed me. So I thanked him, went on. That was on Thursday. Came back on Friday, was walking by, and there was stuff on the table. I'm like, this is amazing stuff. And the dealer was like, yeah, I put it out. You know, I sold stuff yesterday, and I had room, and I had this under the table. So stuff is always being refreshed. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about just some tips in regards to going to the show. I don't know if I said this in the intro, but if you decide you want to be a member, which I'm a member of the OVMS, it gets you into the show for free by being a member. It gets you into all their sponsored shows for free. You can join at the show. So keep that in mind, which is a wonderful thing. The hall that this is located in, it's easy to park, but you may have to walk. The hall is very nicely temperature controlled. It has restrooms, it has concession stands, it has water. Let's go through all of those. Temperature controlled, concession stands, temperature controlled, restrooms, concession stands, and water. So temperature controlled. You don't need to wear your heavy clothes into the hall. What I would recommend is layers. I usually do like a t-shirt and jeans with a long sleeve shirt over the top. So if I get a little cool, I can put on that shirt. If I'm getting warm, I can take the shirt off. I wear very, very comfortable shoes and socks. Please keep that in mind if you're going to the show, because 8 hours on concrete bending over tables will destroy you if you are not in comfortable shoes. So leave your winter coat, your gloves, etc. in the car, make that quick dash across the parking lot, and then enjoy the show in the comfort of just some lightweight, comfortable clothing. Restrooms. They have restrooms. The staff tries really hard to maintain those restrooms, but it can be a losing battle. If you really want to find a quiet, clean restroom, leave the hall. You're still in the building, you're just out of the hall, and use one of the restrooms that's out in the kind of anter area of the complex, okay? Number 3, the food. I think it was food. Well, we'll go with food. They provide food, not for free, you have to pay, but it's concession food. It, in my opinion, is a little on the overpriced side, and it's very salty, very sodium, very concession, not, in my opinion, the best food. So if that's something that bothers you, bring your own food, okay? Simple as that. Bring snacks, bring a sandwich, what have you. Water, they do have water, drinking fountains and the like, but once again, if you want to have water with you, bring a carrying vessel and just refill it, okay? Now, as far as the show goes, I bring with me a backpack, and that way I can keep the tools that I need, plus I can put my purchases in that pack. One of the tools I bring in that backpack is an extra bag. It's one of those kind of like cloth grocery bags that just is easy to unfold. And I do that because if I buy something big, like a helmet or whatever, it's easy just to put it in that bag and continue shopping. I will eventually make a trip out to my car, but what you don't want to be is in a position where you have to continually go out to your car because it is a good walk, okay? So the tools that I pack in my backpack are very simple. Flashlight, just a little pen light so I can light up something if I need to see detail. I bring a jeweler's loupe so I can get in real close to the detail if I need to see maker's marks or what have you. I will bring a notebook and pencil so I can write down where things are at in the hall, which is really, really important. Once again, it is so big, and they do letter the aisles like A, B, C, D, E, F, etc. But if you see something on a table and you want to come back to it, you need to have detailed notes about where it's at, what side it's on, about how far down is it, what is around it. And you can't use, and this is the hard thing, is you really can't use like items like, oh, it's right next to the large banner that's a victory banner, because that victory banner may sell and you come back and that point of reference is gone. So, but notebook and pencil. So let's see, flashlight, jeweler's loupe, notebook, pencil. I will bring food and water, as we talked about, and I'll also bring medication, aspirin. You don't want to be in the hall and come down with some sort of headache and then be like, oh man, I've got to now get in my car, drive to some convenience store to purchase aspirin, okay? Another thing is cash. Cash, everybody, is king at the Show of Shows, all right? Yes, there are dealers who will take credit cards, but you don't know who those dealers are. Most dealers still operate on the principle of cash only. Bring small bills. I try to have, some 10s, some 5s, some 20s, and if I have a few bills, I reserve those for kind of like, I don't really want to spend this, but if I find something great, I can use that big bill, okay? Dealers are not going to be receptive if you walk up and want to buy a $1 photograph and you plop a $100 bill down on the table. Most likely they're going to tell you, thanks, but no thanks, come back later, I can't break that. So cash is king. Now I'm going to finish with this last thing because we're at 11 minutes right now and I don't want this to go too long, but this is very important, and that is when you're at the show, it is so big, you really need to take care of yourself. I've heard many people talk about how they do the show and then that evening they feel horrible because they did not drink anything for 8 to 10 hours, or they didn't eat anything, or they didn't go to the bathroom. So what I do is I actually get to the point where I make it kind of a game. When I'm walking up and down the aisles, I'll say, okay, I'm going to go down this aisle and then back up the next one, and I'm going to stop and I'm going to drink water. And then I'm going to go down and back, drink water, and have a snack. Okay, and that way I keep my body hydrated and I keep myself fed, and I don't slip into that whole thing, because you just get very like blinders on and you forget. Time just flies by as you're in there. So that's it. I will also make an effort to stop and rest. So on Friday when I'm there for 8 hours. What I'll do is probably around the noonish mark is I will find a wall to lean up against, and I will pop out my phone. I'll pop out my charger, and which that's another thing I pack in my pack is my charger and an extra battery for my phone. And I'll sit and maybe watch a half-hour comedy show on my phone, eat food, drink water, and just kind of clear my mind so I can get back into it. Because once again, besides the blinders, you also get kind of this OD blindness, like winter blindness or snow blindness, where you just can't focus anymore. You're seeing too many great things, and you just start to get to the point where I'm just kind of walking now without registering what I'm looking at. So taking those breaks really helps kind of rejuvenate you and allow you to get back into the shopping. So that's all I have right now for tips, techniques, the show. I really hope to see some of you there. If you see me and want to stop and talk, I'd love to hear about your collections, hear about what you're buying. I mean, that's the whole point of this hobby. If you're not able to go, I'm going to do a video. I don't know if I'm going to do it between my 2 days of Thursday, Friday, or when I get back on Saturday. But I'm going to do a video of showing the show, and then I'll show you, hopefully, some of my finds. Hopefully I find something. We'll keep our fingers crossed. But on that note, to all of you, I hope 2024 is going great. Keep the collecting going. And this is Steve reminding all of you to keep them rolling.